Hello, my name is Brittney Unger, and I am a meteorologist at the Nashville National Weather Service office. Today, we're going to talk about hurricanes. A hurricane is a huge storm that forms over the ocean. But in order for a hurricane to develop, there are some main ingredients it needs. The first is very warm water. Hurricanes form in tropical regions where the ocean is at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Because of the sun's energy, this water evaporates into the atmosphere, creating warm, moist air. It's this that serves as the main fuel for hurricanes. The second ingredient is a pre-existing weather disturbance. Many of our hurricanes start from disturbances that develop over Africa and track westward across the tropical Atlantic Ocean. As one of these systems moves across the tropics, the warm ocean air evaporates into water vapor and rises into this system. As it rises, the water vapor cools and condenses back into liquid droplets and develops into clouds and more thunderstorms. The rising motion also creates an area of low pressure at the surface. Because the air inside this low pressure system is rising, the air has to be replaced, which means that more air is swirled in to take its place. Low pressure systems in the northern hemisphere rotate counterclockwise, and this motion gathers clusters of clouds that have developed. Eventually, this system becomes organized into a very large rotating storm. How fast these winds are will determine if the storm is called a tropical depression, a tropical storm, or a hurricane. When the wind speeds in this storm reach between 25 and 38 miles per hour, then the storm is called a tropical depression. When wind speeds reach 39 miles per hour, then the storm is called a tropical storm. When wind speeds reach at least 74 miles per hour, then the storm is now called a hurricane. Hurricanes will also typically have what we call an eye. The eye of the hurricane is located in the center of the storm, and weather conditions are actually calm inside the eye. But don't be fooled. The eye of a hurricane means that the other half of the storm will be passing through. Once a hurricane makes landfall, it will weaken. That's because their main energy source, warm ocean water, is no longer available. Once a storm is classified as a tropical storm, it is given a name. Its name is chosen from a list issued by the World Meteorological Organization at the beginning of the hurricane season. The list alternates between male and female names. Hurricane names won't ever start with a Q, U, X, Y, or Z, since there are few names that start with those letters. Also, if a hurricane is very destructive, then its name will be retired, which means it will never be used again. Some examples of retired hurricane names include Katrina, Harvey, Andrew, and Maria. The National Hurricane Center will classify the strength of a hurricane on a scale of 1 to 5 called the Saffir-Simpson Scale, and this scale is based on how strong the winds are inside the hurricane. The strongest hurricanes are Category 5 with wind speeds of at least 157 miles per hour. But it's not just the winds that can be devastating during a hurricane. Hurricanes produce a lot of rain, which can cause catastrophic flooding. Another devastating element to hurricanes is storm surge, which is often the greatest threat to life and property from a hurricane. Hurricane Katrina is a prime example of how devastating the storm surge can be, as this Category 3 hurricane that made landfall in Louisiana and Mississippi produced a 28-foot storm surge that devastated the coasts of Louisiana and Mississippi. Storm surge happens as the winds from a hurricane rotate around the storm, which pushes ocean water towards the shore, causing catastrophic flooding. It's important to note that the Saffir-Simpson Scale does not take into consideration storm surge, as there are many factors that can influence how strong the storm surge is, such as the intensity of the storm, how fast it's moving, its angle to the coast, and even the shape of the coastline. If a hurricane is impacting your location, the best thing for you to do is to follow local instructions from officials. If they suggest evacuating, then you should evacuate. If you can't evacuate, then stay inside while the hurricane is passing. If you live in a low-lying or flood-prone area, then go to a nearby shelter. If you live in a mobile home, leave and go to a nearby shelter. Stay away from windows, even if they are boarded. After the hurricane passes, stay inside until it's safe to come out. Watch for flooding that has happened and never attempt to drive through flooded roadways. We hope you've enjoyed this educational video on hurricanes, and thank you for joining us.